Hey guys, welcome to another episode of my series My Best Games. So my own personal best games I've played throughout my chess career. And today I would like to take a look at a game I played in 2012 at the European Championship in Plovdiv against Tamas Banusz, an Hungarian player with an ELO rating, I believe, at that time of 2500, let me lie, 80, something like around that. So a very strong grandmaster. I was playing with the white pieces, and we'll go right ahead and take a look at what happened in this game. So I started with e4, e5, and here I've already played a lot of different moves. And for this game particularly, I prepared a very unusual move at a high level, which was f4. I played the King's Gambit. And the King's Gambit is not really seen that often anymore at high level games, because objectively speaking, it's not really that good. In most lines, actually white has to worry about achieving advantage. But as a surprise weapon, can be very dangerous, and exactly this is going to happen in this game. So he took on f4, knight f3, and here maybe I believe the most solid approach for black is to play with d5. And the positions arising from this variation should be around equal. Another very popular move is to play with g5, and he played h6 first, so kind of preparing g5 here. d4, g5, knight c3, now bishop g7, and I had prepared exactly this variation, and I played g3. So now obviously this pawn on f4 is quite unpleasant for me, because it's keeping me from developing my pieces on natural squares. So I want to get rid of it. So now he played d6. If he goes g4 here, I can play knight h4, and after f3 he has a nice pawn on f3, but on the other hand I can now play my knight to f5, develop my pieces naturally, have a beautiful center here, and I think my position is completely decent. So he played d6, and the idea is now that after g takes f4 he plays g4, and this looks, at the first glance it looks very good for black, because if I have to move my knight now, he would give a check on h4, and then I need to move my king, so it's not really what I want. But I had also prepared this specific variation, and I followed the moves of what's the name again? When players are playing very long games, so they're kind of sending each other the moves. I forgot the name really. Well, I'm sure you know what I mean. So it's not a normal game, but the players have a lot of time for each and every move, and these games are of very high quality. And he played this move rook g1, pinning the pawn obviously, so black cannot take on f3 now. And it's already excuse me, very difficult to play for black. So in this specific game I mentioned, I believe, yes, exactly, black played bishop f8. I know the name again. Correspondence games, exactly, that was the name. Between Nightingale and an Italian player, Ruggeri Ladecci. And here white can sacrifice the knight on f3, just develop his piece, and you can see that all the black pieces are on the 8th rank, so he hasn't any pieces out. White is ready to castle queenside, and white has beautiful compensation, even though he has only one pawn for the piece. He has so good compensation that he can develop a dangerous attack. So my opponent played king f8, but now again I just play bishop e3. I sacrifice this knight on f3 and I want to develop and then achieve a strong attack. So it's very difficult to play already in a practical game. If he takes on f3, I take back, knight c6, castle, and it's very difficult for black to develop his pieces. I mean, what should he do? I can play maybe with d5, I can play with e5, bishop comes to c4, all my pieces are out, and I can maybe even put on pressure on the g file, so white has very good chances here. So he didn't take on f3, he didn't take. He played f5, which was kind of surprising to me, I remember. And now I still didn't move my knight. I simply play bishop c4. I could also play knight d2 here, but I didn't really want to do this. It's possible, yes, but I didn't like it too much. I think I was maybe slightly worried about knight c6. And now the pawn on d4 is hanging, and after e5, black is kind of closing the position, and still my position is good here, but it seems like black has avoided the worst, because now his king is not too unsafe anymore with the rather close pawn structure now. So I didn't want to allow that. I play bishop c4, and again I give him the option to take on f3, and this time he did. I think I was maybe more worried about him taking on e4 maybe, when I want to play knight e5. I just want to sacrifice this knight no matter what happens. And here d takes e5, f takes e5. Now of course opening the f file, and you can already see black is having great difficulties on this f file. And possible variations are queen e7 here. Then I can even sacrifice the rook as well. It's just amazing. It's just the lead in development plus the weak king of black is giving white such a huge advantage that he's just developing a crushing attack here, and he's already winning. And if queen h4 check instead of queen e7, then bishop f2. If queen takes h2 now, then simply queen e2, preparing castle, and again placing a rook on f1, and it's also going to be very dangerous for black. But in any of these variations it's very dangerous for black. Also after queen h5, knight d5, knight e6, and rook f1. And white is having more than enough compensation for the piece. So he took on f3, I took back, and now he already made the decisive mistake pretty much. He took on e4, and then his position is already lost. And it's just amazing. We play this rather rare opening, this new variation, and he's already lost after 11 moves. Just because I avoided some opening theory, I played something new, I surprised him, and then he made mistakes early in the game. He took on e4. He should have played knight f6 here. It's his best chance, definitely. I want to play queenside castle, and now different moves are possible for black. For example, f takes e4, knight takes e4, and after knight bd7 I can even play knight g5 here. So threatening to play knight e6, and if he plays knight b6, then I still play knight e6, and you can see this bishop is so unpleasant now on e6, and I'm completely dominating on the white squares, and black still has huge problems here. And if h takes g5, then of course f takes g5, and now I've opened the f file for my rook, and once again I can't really believe that black is going to hold this position. He's up 2 pieces, but simply underdeveloped and super weak king on f8. Alright. But he took on e4, and we'll see shortly how I continued here. I would suggest we do a short break, and I see you in the next part. See you then.